This is After Work Outdoors with a quick how-to. Northern pike are great table fare, but what to do about those awful Y bones? There are a few ways of deboning pike, but I'm going to show you how I do it. First, you need a pike. Northern pike are quite widespread throughout North America, are easy to catch, and despite the opinions of some, are one of the least fishy tasting fish. For the table, you want one about 5 to 7 pounds. Any smaller and fillet, whatever you call it, becomes tedious, and any larger and you're removing the more valuable egg-spawning females, which can be bad for the population.
That one's a little better. Good eating size one, I think.
So the first thing you want to do is fillet it as if you would a regular fish. This differs from the other methods taught online, like specifically the 3 fillet method, where you take the back fillet off and then you have the 2 side pieces. So just like any other fish. Pike have a notoriously flat rib cage, so on most fish you're used to following the rib cage around. On a pike, it's almost perfectly flat with your opening cut. One thing you want to watch out for when you take the fillet off is this fin here. You have to bring your knife up and around that because you can't cut through it. That's a kind of a hard bony thing. Put this aside for a second. So you can see here that when you're going, your knife really doesn't change much when you come down off the ribs. It's almost flat right off, but your first cut does come right down to the spine and then down and off the ribs. Let's do the other side. So again, start right behind the gill. You don't have to make a second cut here, but I generally do. Punch through just at the fins there. So again, most fish have a kind of rounded, protruding rib cage. Pike don't. Pike have very smooth, flat rib cage that runs the length of their body. You are going to cut through, you can see them right here, you are going to cut through these Y bones, and they come off right about there. So you are going to cut through those, but they're quite a soft bone. They don't really make much resistance for the knife. So this step is where things get a little bit interesting. I can't tell you how far to measure exactly where, but right about there, make your first cut. And you're going to want to cut down to the skin, but not through it. If your knife's sharp, you don't want to go through that skin. Just look and see what your ratio looks like. You know, if you're here, it's not going to be a big deal. This piece is bone free. The next step is right here on this white line. This is a lateral line of the fish. So it's going to make a bit of a crunch sound, but you're going to want to cut down, and the same thing, cut down to the skin, but not through it. Now the next step is optional. There's a small bit of bones right here, and I can do each fillet the same. I can do each fillet differently. But right here is a small line of bones. They're not large, but if you don't like any bones at all in your fillet, you should make a cut. You can just feel your knife hit them, just like that. But I will probably leave that piece in because bones of that size don't really bother me. This piece up here, you can see You can see the Y bones in it there. So again, cut down to the skin, and now you can skin the fish. Again, this piece is good. It goes in the good pile. You can see here I almost went through, but it's enough not to worry about. So the belly meat is bone free. The next step is to take the other side of the fillet. And if you look at it, you can see right here, there's those little white Y bones that you just cut through earlier. If you see, the skin side doesn't have them, so you don't need to worry about that side. Put it with the Y bones up, that you just cut through up, the lateral line facing you, just as if it would come off the fillet belly down. So, at that white line, you can see that the little white tips give you a great landmark where to cut. So just on the other side of those little white tips, you want to cut straight down. Now you don't want to angle your knife because you'll cut through these bones. Keep your knife relatively flat. You can go right off the tail. And you'll feel when you've cut through the meat and you've come to rest on the bones, you'll feel just a light ticking sound as you touch each one. So now we're right down to those bones. We've followed those bones down because that goes down and comes off in a Y. Now you're going to go straight off sideways, horizontally, and you're going to fillet that, fillet. You're going to fillet that off of the bones. Now, you're not going to go all the way through. You're going to stop right about there. And now you flip it over. You will see on every pike, the same no matter where you are, this white line. This white line, well, you can't really see it here, but you know where it goes. This white line here, when you push that down, you're going to want to cut directly on that white line, and you're hitting the other side of the Y of those bones. So, right at that line, you go in, and you just want to go down just ever so slightly till you feel the knife contact those bones. And once again, you're not going to want to go all the way through, but if you do, that's okay. The next step is kind of fun. You take that cut you've made, and watch this. You pull them, and you see how much meat you're saving because all these tips of all these Y bones are getting pulled straight out of that meat. So all you lose is this tiny little strip of meat. So you can see, if you do it right, you slide that right off, and you end up with very little meat wasted. This is now perfectly bone-free and ready to be tossed into the oil. So let's do that one more time. Again, right about here, no right or really wrong place. Cut down through, up the lateral line. Run your finger in, make sure you're deep enough. Again, a few little row of bones here. I'm going to leave them in on this one because they don't generally bother me. Now we're going to skin it. This meat, bone free. Belly meat, bone free. Now, again, the skin side down, lateral line side facing you. You've got the tips of the Y bones here. We're going to go straight down. You can even feel for them a little if you lose them on the ends because they lose a bit of visibility at the ends. So you're going to go straight down. Till you feel the knife contacting those bones. If you do it right, you'll be able to run your fingers down and feel them all the way along. Again, knife in, Gonna make a cut out, but you're not gonna go all the way. You're gonna leave it a little bit. Flipping it over, we've got that white line right along there, cutting directly on it. You just go down till you feel those bones, and it's almost straight flat across. If you go a little deep, you can feel the knife dig into the bones, but just lift the knife handle a little bit, or knife blade a little bit. Now, you're going to go almost all the way through, but now you're going to stop just before you do. And that will allow you to pull the bones out in a nice big long strip. And again, you can see these bones are coming out almost perfectly. This one saved even more meat over the last fillet. So you just grab that, pull it out, and you've pulled at least half of these Y bones right out of the fish. Now there's always some meat you're going to lose on this side because you just can't, you just can't really get in. But you see these little white tips that you went on. If you were to get on the other side of them, you could go a little closer, but that's about as close as you're going to get right there. And here you have the meat from a nice 5-pound pike, bone-free. Well, there you have it. Now you can enjoy northern pike, and you don't have to worry ever again about those nasty Y bones. This is After Work Outdoors. Till next time.